Hello and welcome to a windy day here in San Angelo, Texas. We are at the Goodyear Proving Grounds and we're going on a road trip. You join us here in San Angelo, Texas, where they test tires for new vehicles and replacement tires as well. Now it's crazy windy outside, so I'm just trying to block the wind, but take a look at this. We have a secret supercharger here in the middle of Texas. I'm backing up, trying to block the wind here. Forgive the video quality, and here it is. This is a supercharger, of course, here in Texas, and we're going on a road trip with our Tesla Model 3 Performance. So we're gonna go from here in San Angelo, Texas, back to Fort Collins, Colorado. That's a long stretch. It's a difficult stretch, but there's a new supercharger along the way. We'll have a whole video on this particular install, but individual testing sites that Tesla ends up using to test prototypes will have superchargers that are not listed in the car and not for public use, of course. So let's jump in. Drew, who owns Martian wheels that are on my car, is here with me, as well as Timon, and the three of us are going to road trip home the Model 3 Performance. But first, we're going to take a Raptor around the off-road course just on the other side of this building. Topped up to 100%, unplugging from the supercharger. We just did a nice little top balance here in the DC charger. We have the air conditioning set to 65 degrees inside the car, I believe, and we are ready to rock and roll. Well, Drew's here, of course. You guys know Drew from plenty of videos, and Timon is putting stuff in the back. So the three of us are gonna run here. It's 1:51 p.m. We're gonna drop Drew off in Denver. Drew is the mastermind behind Martian Wheels, of course, and Timon is the mastermind behind the visuals of this channel, except, well, I should say the reviews channel. I do all the filming for motoring vlog style. So let's jump on the road. Our next stop's gonna be Sweetwater, Texas. And this kind of looks like our route plan here. It should be about 824 miles, no problem. Easy trip to the grocery store. You can see this is a big deal right here, this Clayton, New Mexico charger. If you go back to our older road trips, you'll notice this stretch between Amarillo and Trinidad, Colorado was massive and huge uphill, big winds. We once had to drive, what, 35 miles an hour just to make that stretch?
It took us 5.5 hours to do 230 miles.
Right.
It was terrible.
Right, absolutely. And now we have a new charger here in Clayton, New Mexico, which is a version 3 right along the way, which is like the biggest night and day difference you could ever imagine. So I haven't done this route yet. On the way over here, I flew over from Los Angeles to here. Timon drove down, of course, from home. So Timon's experienced this charger. There goes the Raptor. And how was off-roading that thing, by the way?
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, good time. Big boat, rear-wheel drive V8. I mean, yeah, it was fun. So.
That's awesome. Well, make sure you keep an eye on our other channels for all of the content here at Goodyear. We shot a whole bunch of videos. And for now, it looks like our route plan wants us to do a quick stop in Sweetwater, Texas. My guess is that makes sense because this looks like a big stretch. And yeah, we're just going to drive quickly here in West Texas. The speed limits are quite high. So let's jump on the road and head up to Fort Collins, Colorado. Now, you guys know sometimes my facial hair gets out of control, and that is why we have partnered with Harry's. Harry's is a personal care brand that has reinvented the way you shave, helping you shave in a premium, hassle-free way. Help Harry's support a great cause as they give 1% of their global sales to nonprofit organizations that provide mental health care to men in need. Now, the reason I really like Harry's is because you can see this sort of really nice rubber textured weighted handle with this sort of pivoting structure here for the blades. The blades themselves are manufactured in Germany, which is pretty neat. And yeah, it just feels like a really nice high quality shaver. The other thing I really love is this shaving gel. It's extremely foamy and frothy, so when you put it on your face, it feels very protective and even gives you a fresh feeling after you use it. Harry's just released their sharpest ever blades, and they're still the same low price of only $2 each. Get this trial set for only $3. For a high-quality shaving kit, this is an absolute steal. Redeem your trial set for just $3 when you go to harrys.com/outofspec. And behind us, we are pulling out of the Goodyear test facility. Drew, Timon, awesome time there, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Really good. So now we're heading on to the coarsest roads in the planet here in Texas. They are literally terrible in terms of pavement, but 100% or 97%, let's floor it. Oh! Welcome to Sweetwater, Texas. We are just doing a quick top up so we can make it on the next stretch. If we had another 30, 40 miles of range, we probably could have done it, but huge winds out here today. And just, of course, in no huge particular rush. We'd like to try to make it to Trinidad, Colorado tonight, but we will see. We may stay in Amarillo or somewhere in between, but we're lopping off a big part of this trip tonight. We were doing a little bit of dirt road driving in this car today, and yep, very warm. Reached temperatures of close to 100 degrees. Of course, we have the Martian MW03 wheels, but we also have the Nokian Hakkapeliitta R3 winter tires, which are not designed for this hot of weather. One of the interesting things is road tripping around, it's hard to plan for the weather conditions you're going to experience, and this was sort of a last minute trip. Didn't know it was going to be this hot, so definitely using these tires outside of their design temperature range, and they haven't exploded yet, so that's a good thing. We left Goodyear with 100% state of charge, or 98, and then I ran the AC and pulled it down off 100. 88 kilowatts here at 64% is not bad. That's about all we can expect for the charging curve. Another Model 3 just pulled up over here, and right here in the middle of Texas. Nice warm day, that's for sure. Very windy though. Timon, why don't you explain a little bit about what we were doing at Goodyear the last couple days?
So we got invited to do some tire testing and see what all goes into the tires that get tested, basically. And they showed us what they do through the tire testing to see when or how they can become road legal, and test further to see how they react in like gravel, the wet, and uneven surfaces.
Yeah, they had tons of different pavement types, tons of different driving scenarios, wet, dry, dirt. We drove multiple vehicles and learn how they go through the iteration process to bring a tire to market, test one tire, test another, here are the differences between. We made some videos specifically on tires for EVs. They have a Tesla Model S in their fleet, and we learned, more about that foam that goes inside of a tire. That made a huge difference.
Yeah, it would be nice for these Texas roads.
Yeah, really the best test was we had the same car at two brand new sets back to back, and we were able to see with and without the foam, and totally would go for the foam now on after seeing that. Just a real big noise change there. So yep, just charging up here in Sweetwater. Be here for about 10 minutes. Childress, Texas will be our next stop. We have a 3% arrival right now. We're going to bring that up to 15 to 18% and then burn up the rest as speed as we normally do. Timon's just unplugged us here in Sweetwater. We're charged up to 82%, ready to rock and roll. Drew's taking on this leg, and none of our phones have Bluetooth on, so let me do that. are just over halfway to our destination in where we headed to, Childress, Texas. 2% predicted arrival. Drew's been driving not very quickly. We've just had an unbelievable headwind pickup and even more coming up ahead as well. So we are going to keep the speeds quite low, keep the buffer going. We're talking a 30 to 35 mile an hour headwind here. So our 60 miles an hour is really the equivalent to much higher speeds, of course. And once we're at that supercharger, we're good. But that's why you always put a little buffer in there on the way to the charger like we did. We have arrived at the Pack-a-Sack. We've been here on another road trip. I think we're going to be pretty much on some superchargers that we've done before from here on out. Arrived at 3%. Nice driving to Drew. Balanced that big headwind. Kind of let up there at the end a little bit. We were able to pick up a little bit of speed. Plugging in here next to that Model S in white with a wrapped black roof. 3% state of charge. Plugging in, and let's juice up here and get some Red Bulls at the Pack-a-Sack. We are not charging that quick, only 113 kilowatts, but we're going to give it some time to bump up. Worst case, we will, I think it's going to creep up here in just a little bit. I've noticed where they kind of hit a ledge and then they expand past. For the newer software, they start to creep up later on into the session. Pretty interesting. And it has to do with the time after plugged in. Who knows? Let's let this thing charge up to, I'm not really sure. It wants us here for 25 minutes. Sounds good to me. Snacks have been collected. We are charging at 138 kilowatts. I told you guys it's been starting to ramp up after plugging in. Pretty interesting. Timon, what does it look like we need to charge to? What's our next destination after this? Amarillo, and then with a huge headwind along the way. So we need to prepare for that. 120 miles, so we're going to charge up to probably 80% for that headwind. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. We're all topped up to 80 something percent, 82, 83%. Got some snacks, watched a little bit of Top Gear, learned about some old school trucks and stuff like this. And now we are in the car and heading to Amarillo, Texas with Timon behind the wheel. Thank you very much for driving, sir.
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Welcome to Amarillo. Nice job driving, Timon. Thank you very much.
Like the air's
Sir.
All right, back it on in there.
Going Terry.
Are we going to do dinner here?
I don't care.
Okay, 150 kilowatt unit. We'll just set the charge limit up pretty high and let this thing charge on up. Now, getting back home to Colorado from here in Amarillo has always been a massive challenge. If you guys watch one of our previous road trip videos here, we had to drive 30 miles an hour again to get up to Trinidad. However, the wind's picking up, sorry. However, there's a new supercharger in Clayton, New Mexico. So if we weren't hungry and didn't want to get dinner, we could just top up to maybe 60, 70% here, rip it to Clayton, charge up on the V3, and rip it to Trinidad. Either way, we're going to have to stop there because it's 230 miles, big headwind, and big uphill elevation to Trinidad. So even if we 100% charge here and we drive normally, We're stopping at that version 3 afterwards. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Nice out of spec sweatshirt there, representing. I don't even know where mine is.
This is yours.
Oh. We're at Logan's, and you're holding your head for some reason. I don't know. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, just charging up the car. We're going to set it to 90%. No one else is at the supercharger, so hopefully we don't get hit with idle fees. And if we do, it's not going to happen. We're in the middle of Texas. That supercharger is empty. All right, we have unplugged now. We actually grabbed dinner and this car's been unplugged, but because there's less than 50% capacity, no idle fees, we were monitoring it. We would move the car, of course, bumped it up to 95% state of charge. Our Model S buddy from the last charger is here with a car full of puppies. Apparently he's rescued them and he's bringing them up to Colorado, and we'll find homes through different shelters and things like this. Really nice. It's probably got, I don't know, 25 dogs, he said, in this thing. All puppies, and rescuing them. Anyway, let's jump in. Tymon's taking on this drive. I guess I'm really not going to drive much here.
Visibility.
You guys good?
Oh yeah, we're great.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, great. Market, where we have new version 3 superchargers, making this stretch so much easier than before. What are we plugging in with? 19%? Mm-hmm. Nice. Let's get this thing juicing. We are charging up at the Clayton, New Mexico Supercharger version 3. This unlocks the route from Amarillo to Trinidad. Really awesome to find this supercharger here, that this just came online, I think, maybe the day before Timon drove down. It was unbelievably great timing. It actually wasn't even marked as online yet on his trip down to Texas. Now it's in the car. It shows as active on PlugShare and all the other sites. Awesome to have it here. Seriously, this was one of the stretches that almost made EV ownership not possible for us. Now that it's in, it's much better. In the wintertime, there's no way we would have been able to make that stretch up to Trinidad, gaining all that elevation. So charging up here on the version 3, we're close to 60% state of charge, pulled in really low. 18, 19, I guess that's not really low for out of spec stuff. And what we're gonna do is figure out a hotel for tonight. We have the option to stay here or up in Trinidad. We'll see how Timon's feeling driving. But lucky me, I've just been sitting in the backseat working most of the time. Easy road tripping, that's for sure. So let's jump back in the car, come up with a plan as to where we're gonna stay, book a hotel, and rock and roll from there. We are now charged up to 65%. I'm going to unplug the version 3 supercharger. So nice again to have this installation unplugged. Cable is back. Nice backlit on all of the version 2 and version 3 superchargers. Let's jump in and head to Trinidad as the move, and we'll find a hotel around there. Trinidad. I just checked into my hotel room. The other guys are checking into theirs. I'm gonna go take the car over to the Supercharger just across the street. We tried to book the Holiday Inn because it's at the Supercharger, but that was full. So we're heading over to go charge this thing up to, let's say, 80% or so, because if we leave it, you know, at low state of charge here below freezing tonight, it is just going to get so cold that it would barely even charge quickly in the morning. So definitely worth staying up just a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes, just to get some extra juice in it tonight. And we are at 9% state of charge. So let's get this thing charged up here in Trinidad, Colorado. In the daytime, at least, beautiful mountain views way off in the distance over this way. Just gonna charge up to maybe, who knows, let's take a look and then we'll figure it out. So it looks to me that Colorado Springs is going to be the next supercharger. It is, let me take a look at the miles away. This is, looks like a pretty big gap. Yeah, 131 miles. So we're going to charge up to at least 80% here tonight. And yeah, that way we can account for it losing some energy as it's cold, and we're gonna have to warm up the battery in the morning and efficiency will be lower. So I think 80% should give us plenty of buffer. With that said, should be about 20 minutes for me to get to 80%, 25, maybe 30 minutes, who knows. And yeah, we're charging at, let's just take a look really quick, 134 kilowatts, not terrible. And I will see you guys in the morning. Good night. Good morning. The guys are just rolling out of the hotel now. I just went to grab us some Starbucks into town here in Trinidad. It was about like a 5-mile round trip to get Starbucks. I'll take on this leg. I can bring us home. Thank you guys for driving yesterday for the most part.
No problem.
And you feeling all right, Timon?
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, nice. Let's rock and roll. And welcome to Colorado Springs, Colorado, where we had just stopped off. I forgot to film actually at the local Porsche dealer. Some friends of ours down there, and did a little quick tour of their Heritage collection. Really amazing hardware. We charged up from 6% to 16% on their level 2 charger. We have plugged in at what state of charge, Timon?
We're at 14.
14%. So we're gonna juice up enough here. If we really do a deep charge, like if we go and get lunch, which I'm kind of feeling, then we can make it all the way home to Fort Collins with the energy here. Yeah, quite exciting. And I just finished up lunch. The guys are back there eating. I saw the supercharger was getting full, so I figured I'd pull the car off the charger. It's at 91%. Let's head out.
Yo, dude, Sig Model 3.
Looks like we found a parking spot. It says customer pickup only, but that's okay. We'll be here just for a second.
West Virginia. Meow, meow, meow. Hope there's no car. It's not prototype. It's
That
prototype.
is.
Oh man. It's a sneaky prototype.
Yeah. Sneaky prototype. Nice. Testing the new road. Don't they realize they're on sale? Oh, maybe this is like an off-roady version. That thing's seen better days.
It has all that.
Bye, Drew. Okay, let's go home now.
Finally.
Finally.